The modern slash futuristic military shooter. It's a genre that seldom I like games from, but the game industry can't get enough of them. Usually the campaigns in these games are only supplemental to the multiplayer that comes with them, which is why I don't really feel like going after Halo or Gears of War or something like that. But one game series in particular is mostly known for its single player. Splinter Cell. Now, to elaborate, I'm only really referring to the first two games here, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell and Pandora Tomorrow, because they're the only ones that I have played. I'm sure future games have probably fixed at least partially some of the problems that I'm going to talk about. So, first off, Splinter Cell just feels like a stock military stealth game. It's the image you get when you think of games in that style, but what it doesn't feel is unique. I feel like there are plenty of games where you go through similar stealth sections, and they are only one part of the game. The Modern Warfare games, for example, have stealth sections thrown in there, and each of them are really well done. But that game has more to it, so you'd think since Splinter Cell focuses on stealth gameplay, it should have it really refined, but it doesn't. I'll explain on why in a bit, but first let me present two examples of good stealth games. First is Thief 2. While Thief 1 is good, Thief 2 really mastered the art of the stealth gameplay, and it's really well designed. Each item and weapon that you have has a purpose, and there are all different types of arrows for you to strategize. You have normal arrows, as well as water arrows to put out lights, rope arrows to climb to places you can't get, moss arrows that make your footsteps quiet, noisemaker arrows to distract the guards, and a few more besides that. Then, with non-linear maps, there are many different ways to approach your target, so you have plenty of options on what you can do. Then there's the Metal Gear Solid games. Specifically, I'm going to be referring to the second and third games, but those are just my favorites, and what I'm going to be referring to. They're not quite as well designed mechanically as the Thief games, but it's the story and creativity that makes these games so good. Each narrative is unique and interesting, sometimes packing serious issues into the mix, other times heavy emotions, or sometimes just bizarre madness. But it's compelling and interesting. The bosses are a highlight, especially in the third game, where you have a sniper battle in a large open area. The point is, Metal Gear Solid is able to get away with less than perfect mechanics because it's so interesting and unique. So, what does Splinter Cell do that's unique? I don't know. I can't really think of anything that's unique. I can tell you what it does wrong, though. What gets really annoying is the checkpoint system. See, the checkpoints are fairly spaced out, and getting caught will usually just mean death. So, the game is really punishing. One mission in, Pandora Tomorrow is especially brutal. It starts outside an airport, where you climb into a truck and wait a whole minute before you can do anything else. Then you're in a parking garage, where here you'll have to kill a guard without the other one seeing or a dog barking at you. Then you go through a small area with a few civilians before coming to a large open room with many guards, of which you have to kill only some of them because some of them are terrorists, and some of them are terrorists, and the other guards can't know that you're killing them. If you get caught once, you start again from the beginning. There are no checkpoints. It's really frustrating getting to the very end of that section and then having to do it again, including that stupidly long truck ride. In Thief, there's none of that, because you have save states. It's lovely, really, and stops the game from never getting tedious. Meanwhile, Splinter Cell thrives on that. There are plenty of moments like the one I just described. It just so happens that one was the worst. But besides the checkpoints, the story is pretty stock and the levels are linear. Now, linearity isn't a problem in and of itself, but this is a stealth game. Stealth doesn't lend itself very well to linearity and having only one solution. In stealth games, there should be multiple solutions to problems, and yes, there are moments where you can use different strategies to get past certain sections, but too often I feel like I'm being led down a very specific path through a specific series of corridors and vents. There's another moment in Pandora Tomorrow where you ride an elevator all the way up, and then you have to exit a tunnel into a town to get to an escape point, except there's tons of snipers with perfect accuracy watching you, so you have to take them all out first. You only have one strategy in this situation, especially considering you're probably low on health because the previous section was difficult to get through. You have to kill everyone with your sniper, but they're all hidden in the background and it's hard to see them all. Plus, they'll shoot you before you can even see them. I repeated this section many, many times, and of course I had to ride the elevator up every time, so it was a full minute I had to wait between attempts. In a better designed stealth game, you wouldn't see something like this. There'd be multiple ways to get through those snipers, rather than just having a tunnel that opens up to an arena where you just die. I think I can understand what went through the reviewers' head when they played Splinter Cell games, though. The games had these good-looking graphics for the time, and it's understandable for them to ignore the flaws of the game, so they can be a military special agent. But now, the Splinter Cell games have been beaten many times over. Games like Uncharted and Batman Arkham games have stealth sections in them, but they don't feel like stealth sections because screwing up doesn't take you back to the last checkpoint. The game just continues. Now, I understand Splinter Cell was going for more of a pure stealth experience, but it's hard to do pure stealth right, and, well, it doesn't do pure stealth right.